February 21st, 2018, the Interboro Board of School Directors to order. Ms. Caldwell, do we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Boyle? Mr. Harris? Here. Ms. Joseph? Here. Ms. Burnauer? Here. Mr. McGarvey?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Chabot?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here. Mr. Evans, do we have the invocation and the pledge, please?
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District. And grant to this board in the deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name, amen. Now we'd like to have a moment of silence, if we can. Recognize Ms. Chris Craig, who had 6 years of dedicated service to the district in special education instructional assistant at Prospect Park. John Eubanks, Interboro Hall of Fame recipient, Interboro High School graduate, president and CEO of the Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union, and for the victims and their families in Mortgage, Sterling Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda, we'll swear in new board members. Swearing in Ms. Jennifer Robert. I'm sorry. Congratulations, you did volunteer. First, to welcome you to the board, Ms. McElwain. Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 2 here on the agenda, the reports from our student representatives. Ariane, Ms. Lane.
At the Kindergarten Academy, the students had a great visit with author and illustrator Lindsay Barrett George on January 11th. She spoke to the children about where her ideas and her stories come from. She encouraged the children to find ideas for their stories all around. From the Glen School District, Mrs. Quirk held a monthly Study Island Blue Ribbon Contest, or ELA. Congrats to Zainab Ghaznavi and Eric Heineman on their impressive ribbons with 21 and 28 ribbons earned. Marge Brown is excited to start the upcoming Robotics Club with 2 sessions within 6 weeks. The middle school had an amazing time at their Glow Dance sponsored by the Student Council. Everyone had a great time at our activities night supporting our high school mini-con. At Norwood School, the 7th annual Meet and My Guide dance is held on Saturday, February 10th from 7 o'clock to 9:30 p.m. everyone had an enjoyable time. Next up is Lads and Ladies on March 10th. The middle school honor roll assembly for students in grades 6 through 8 is held Wednesday, January 31st. Congratulations to the honor roll and distinguished honor roll students. Congratulations to the middle school spelling bee winners that qualified for the district level spelling bee, which was held on Saturday, January 27th in the auditorium of Interboro High School. Congratulations to Dylan Smith, who participated and won in the district level spelling bee and will represent our district on March 3rd at the DCIU spelling bee. And please congratulate the following Norwood students who were selected to participate in the 2018 Southern Delaware County Middle School Band. The concert was held at Chichester Middle School, January 26th at 7 p.m. The following students include Stephen Andrews, Keenan Liu, Matthew Saber, Frank Suga, and Katrina Ewing.
For Prospect Park School District, for those with positive behaviors, they were rewarded with a Winter Fun Fest at the end of the first semester. The middle school held a spelling bee and sent 6 students to district finals. 2 of our students are moving to county finals. Good luck to Michael Southern and Chloe Cathy.
Tinicum School, on January 12th, 19th, and February 2nd, Tinicum celebrated Eagle Spirit Days, where the students and staff could show their Eagles pride by wearing team clothing. On February 2nd, students participated in a pep rally organized by the staff, which obviously helped the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and a good time was had by all.
For Interboro High School, we held another coffee house on January 12th. Over 80 students and community members attended. On January 18th and 19th, we held our annual activities fair for the 8th graders. It was a huge success. On January 27th was our junior-senior party. It was themed after the show Stranger Things. It was the largest attendance in several years that we've had. Thank you to all who helped out. This concludes our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Next on the agenda, number 3, recognition, Ms. Rowley.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. At this time, I would like to welcome up Jennifer Olivieri, middle school English language arts teacher at Norwood School and spelling bee moderator.
Hi, I'm Jen Olivieri. I am an ELA teacher at Norwood School, and I'm also the pronouncer at the Interboro School District Spelling Bee, which is more distinguished than it sounds. And I, on behalf of all of the spelling bee sponsors of the school district, would just like to recognize some of our winners. We have with us today our 2nd place winner, Michael Southern, and our 3rd place winner, Chloe Cathy, both from Prospect Park. So you can give them a round of applause. Michael came in 2nd after an intense spell-off with our 1st place winner, Dylan Smith. It went on for quite a few rounds. I don't get people counting or do they anymore. So we were starting to run out of words. We were getting a little bit stressed out. So Michael did a great job. He's in 6th grade, so he's eligible for 2 more years. So we're really excited about that. We've been with 2 gentlemen for quite a while, and we're so proud of all of our students. And the IEA, Interboro Education Association, is also going to present both of you guys with a monetary gift for your efforts and your academics. Thank you. And our champion, Dylan Smith, who wasn't able to join us tonight, has his name added to our trophy, and the trophy will be kept at Norwood School until next year's district-wide spelling bee.
I'd like to just congratulate our kids for doing a great job. Go Prospect. Moving on to number 4, public comments, Mr. Evans.
Next we have Mrs. Phyllis Lloyd.
Phyllis Lloyd, 604 14th Avenue, Prospect Park. I just wanted to kind of touch on a couple of things that I brought up before, and I really didn't get a definitive answer. When I was a school board member, I took many courses, and this is one of them, and I'm going to quote from the book, okay, of one of the courses I took. It's the law, for new board members, okay? I know I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to make it quick. There's quite a few different suggestions or comments about ways a school board can excel. The one main one is be an educated school board, attend PSBA and NSBA educational offerings, which is the courses that I referred to. Read American School Board Journal, which you all should be getting, and other education publications. Stay abreast of new research. The best school boards make decisions based on data and the experiences of other practitioners. One of the ways that a school board can fail, and there's several listed, but the one is pay no attention when the board does not pay attention to ethical behavior, like help your nephew or brother-in-law or whoever with the district getting a job. Steer contracts towards friends, okay? This has happened. And go into executive session in defiance of state open meeting laws. No one will notice except those pesky reporters who cover your meetings and me. Okay? Another quote, when and how boards meet. The Sunshine Act is full of details about how meetings must be conducted. The Sunshine Act defines a meeting as any prearranged gathering which is attended or participated in by a quorum of members held for the purpose of deliberating or taking official action. Your board may, pursuant to Section 8 of the Sunshine Act, adopt rules and regulations necessary for the conduct of its meetings. Okay? Then we go into the one thing that I have a question, and this will be for the solicitor, through Mr. Phelps, naturally the president. Executive sessions. And it states here, executive sessions do not have to be advertised, but must be announced at a public meeting. Executive sessions are private meetings of an agency held for the purpose of discussing specific matters. Although the public is excluded, the agency may admit those individuals necessary to carry out the purpose of the meeting, such as consultants, attorneys, etc. Boards and committees may deliberate in private when meeting in a legal executive session. However, official action on a matter must be taken in a public meeting. And this is listed, and I tried to explain reasons to meet in executive session. Personnel issues involving the employment, appointment, discipline, termination, and conditions of employment. Performance evaluation or promotion of an employee. Labor relations, to hold information, strategy, and negotiation sessions related to negotiation or arbitration of the collective bargaining agreement. Real estate, purchase or lease but not sale of real estate. Litigation, attorney or other advisor to discuss litigation or pending litigation, information or strategy. Confidential information, to discuss information that would violate a lawful privilege or lead to disclosure of information or confidentiality protected by law. The reason for holding the executive session must be announced at the opening meeting occurring immediately prior to the executive session. The Sunshine Act requires that even though it is of public interest that certain matters be discussed in private, the public has the right to know what matter is being addressed in those sessions. The General Assembly intends for people to get this information so they can determine from the reason given that the executive session is proper. My question My question,
Interruption, Mrs. Ford. 5 minutes.
Fine.
Right there.
my question is, when I challenged or asked why an executive session was going to happen to discuss the appointment of a school board member, which, thank you, Jen, I'm glad that you came into light, and I wish you a lot of luck, but why I was told it's to discuss legal matters. That doesn't fall under what I just read. So why was there an executive session to discuss something that the public should be very much aware of when it comes to an appointment? And then we ended up getting bad advice, or I should say the board did, and we were
And
embarrassed.
Mrs. Ford, you're over 5 minutes, let's wrap it up. Get to the point and get done.
And a mistake was made, as Mr. Phelps said. Everybody's entitled to a mistake, but when it's something like this, we shouldn't have mistakes. But anyway, I'd like to know the explanation of why there was an executive session to just discuss something that wasn't executive session material, and why was the mistake made?
Good evening, Mrs. Boyd. To the best of my information, the answer to your question, and then I can provide you with some background on the topic. The answer to your question was to discuss legal advice as it pertained to the eligibility of certain board members or certain potential individuals who may wish to apply to the board. There was no mistake made. There was no bad advice provided. Just prior to the last month's meeting, which I believe was approximately 30 days ago, not 100% correct on my time, Mrs. Riley had been in contact with Mrs. Gomes of my office as well as Ms. Meehan of my office to discuss the fact that there had not been any applicants discussed for the vacancy that had been there. And the question was, what is it that we can do? What is it that we must do? What are the parameters and the abilities of this board or requirements of this board? And the answer to that question is multifaceted. There are school districts in Delaware County that are made up of multiple towns that do not have a specific, that are not divided by regions, but have long-standing practices of, and what they would call general persons agreements to have 2 members from this town, 1 member from this town, 2 members from this town. There are also districts that simply elect their members at large with no such agreement. And then there are districts that are divided by region. At that time, we asked Mrs. Riley if there was any documentation here at the board level to indicate that there's a court order indicating that how the positions are elected. The answer was in the negative. There is nothing on the website indicating how the positions are elected. There's nothing in the board policies indicating how the positions are elected. I reached out to the Board of Elections. I spoke with an individual at the Board of Elections and asked them specifically if they had any documentation on file, and the answer was again in the negative. So the question, that was probably Tuesday and Wednesday prior to the meeting, and the question was asked at the meeting, can we expand the search to the district at large? And based upon the information that was available at that time, the answer was yes. The district, I believe, changed the information on the internet that Thursday evening. Might have been Thursday day, but I received a call Thursday evening from the solicitor for the Board of Elections saying, indicating to me Mike, I know you called, and we don't have a document on file, but we, the Board of Election, have been utilizing regions for the Interboro School District, and that's what we have done. While I don't have you a court order to show you, that is what we have been doing. So, Mrs. Floyd, as you've been on this, you've been on both sides of the table. I think you indicate that there is not always black and white answers to questions. And a question such as this, when there was no empirical evidence or objective evidence, but there was past practice. And that led me to pick up the phone after that call on Friday morning and contact Mr. Phelps, and contacted Mrs. Riley first and contacted Mr. Phelps secondly, and indicated that I'm going to be providing you with revised guidance. And that revised guidance is that even though you are nearing the end of the 30-day period, I believe that when I revised guidance and conservative meaning guarded, my advice was to continue to seek candidates from that region only while we looked for a court order. We have searched the records. The Board of Election has searched the records. I know Mrs. Riley and Mrs. Caldwell have also undertaken an investigation here to see if there is a court order or documents they can find. As we sit here this evening, I don't have one for you. But from everything that I can see, it tells me that one most likely exists. And therefore, my office rendered the opinion, based upon that evidence, that you should seek your member from that region. Even though what the district had attempted to do, that is not necessarily in its policies, but is sort of reflective of the evolution of replacing board members, was to seek input from folks and to advertise, none of which is required in the law. Very similar to a borough or a township, the only thing required in the law for a replacement of a school board member, a vacancy, is the majority vote of the individuals remaining on the board, as long as it's a majority of the school board left. It was my opinion then, it was my opinion now, it would be my opinion tomorrow, that the conservative course of action is the appropriate course of action. Because if there was an individual who had then subsequently from outside of the region applied, and we were to find this court order, someone were to petition the court indicating that they weren't appropriately appointed, or many other of the important items that the school board does, would be called into question and potentially invalidated along the line. So the course of action that was rendered was a conservative one, but it was an opinion that we rendered. I would render it again tomorrow. I respectfully take issue with the wording of bad advice or mistake, because I do not believe one was made.
That's what Mr. Phelps said.
That's what you said.
No, that's what you said. It was a mistake. Everybody's entitled to a mistake. We made a mistake. Well, it's on tape. Doesn't matter. But in 1956, you might find something there when Interboro became Interboro. Okay? And moving along over the years for an appointment, it just, a couple of times they had it on it, like for a month or 2 or 3. Okay? It doesn't happen that often, but they're not waiting, banging on the door, looking to be a school board member. And the other thing is that, this says right here, litigation. That's not litigation, and that's something the public should have participated or heard the discussion. So I'm going to state it again and again and again. That was not executive session material. And under the Sunshine Law, I feel that's a violation. So With that said, again, thank you, Jen, for stepping up to the plate, in eliminating any possible legal action, and, you know, I just hope that everything works out well for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sweet. Mr. Harden?
Yes, Mr. Dirty Doby.
Dirty Doby, Tinny. Number 12.6. This is under the, there are a number of issues, 12 of them to be exact, but this one is the only one that has reference to a solicitor fee. So was there a lawsuit involved with this particular issue?
Mr. Joby, good evening, sir. That is not a lawsuit, but it's a special education matter at which an individual would either bring a due process action or it would not be entitled a lawsuit, but the guardians or parents of a student would take issue with a service provided by the district, and that would be a settlement. And as part of that settlement, attorney's fees are required to be included in that settlement, sir.
And so those attorney fees are your attorney fees and the other parties' attorney's fees?
They are not, sir. They are the other parties.
Oh, so this solicitor's, this fee is the other parties?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So, wow. How much money is that? Do you know how much money that is?
Sir, I do not know off the
Okay,
top of
so
my head with
I'd
regard
like
to that
to
settlement.
I'd like you to find out, where's my representative? Burn out to find out just exactly how much money that is, and to at least provide that publicly, at least in another meeting in the future, finance committee meeting or something. Number 12.12, which is the intern. This is a former student who is now a college student.
Mr. Riley?
Mr. Doby, we work with the psychology internship program at Eastern University, and we have the capability of bringing in a school psychologist intern to work under one of our school psychologists while they complete their schooling for their school psychology degree. For us to be able to do this, we are required to provide a stipend to the intern for working with us. So this intern works side by side with our school psychologist and completes their internship work. It is not a graduate, did you ask if it was a graduate?
Was it an Interboro graduate?
No, it was not.
Okay.
This is just a student who needs to do an internship placement, and as we have done in the past, we'd like to continue that process if we have the availability.
Okay. Next is the article that appeared in the Daily Times Monday, January 22nd. Interboro will not raise taxes over state allowance. In this article, Kelly Boyle from Norwood is stated, quoted as saying that we should go for the 3.2. Boyle said it at that meeting. You have to be safe. This way we can always lower it instead of going higher. We have plenty of time to straighten this out. Now, also in this article, it said that there was a projected increase for salary and benefits of $1,900,000. At the February finance meeting, Mr. High School mentioned that the salary increase for the teachers, which is the largest labor group, was approximately $400,000. So $1,900,000 minus the 400 is $1,500,000 for the rest of the pay increases for anybody who is getting increases, which seems an extreme amount compared to what the teachers' union is getting. So what is the difference? Why is that figure so, doesn't make very much sense, numbers-wise?
Mr. Doby, the $1.9 million is salary and benefits, not just salary. So it's salary and benefits, the PCERS, healthcare.
Okay, So when Mr. Heisel said it was $400,000, he was only giving the 2.5% increase in pay?
Correct.
Okay, so, all right, so the next time I have to, so if you have that information as to what the teacher's contract includes in a, not only in salary, but also in benefits, to give that back, because I think that that's an important amount to do. Which brings me to the, there's an advertisement on the web, on the TV, about need of substitute teachers. Is that still in effect? Okay, so you advertise that you're going to pay them $100 a day. Is that what you're paying?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Doby. We
So-
just increased that from $80, $90, we've increased it.
Well, I still think that's low compared to, and the reason I'm saying, so I asked last month, my representative, Mr. Burnell, and the other representative from Tinicum, Mr. Joseph, to read the airport agreement about the decision that was made by the county, the township, and the school district in the city of Philadelphia in 2015. And one of the stipulations in there, so first of all, I'd like to know, did you read the document?
Mr. Goby, please direct your
Okay,
question.
Mr. Phelps, I would like my representative to answer the
I
question.
understand that, sir, but this is not a question and answer, this is, if your statement.
This is a school board meeting. People like to get information, that's what I'd like to get. So I'm asking you, through Mr. Phelps, did you read that document? That's all. You don't want to?
Yes.
Mr. Doby, I'm still working on it. I want to research everything and read it in depth, but unfortunately at this time I have to do some work items as well. So give me some time. I am reading through. I want to make sure I have all the information. Still not working on it. I
Okay.
promise.
All right. So recently, the airport has announced that they are purchasing the Henderson property. It is its current assessment, which they have been paying taxes to the Interboro School District, the county, and the township, is $10,900,000. It's been reported by my solicitor last night at the Tinicum Township Commissioners meeting that they are in agreement, at least tentatively, for a purchase price of $54,500,000. Now, that's 4 times the assessment value, which means that you, or the Interboro School District, has been receiving, if this is accurate, 4 times less in your tax rate for that property over the years that you've had that. Now, it's one of the reasons why I bring the airport agreement up every time and time. So you know what, so I'm finished?
If you could just wrap it up.
Well,
I know you wanted to discuss.
You're losing
things.
money at the rate of $2,000 a day. You have people coming here telling you that you should reduce the expenditures. Now, you can't reduce the expenditures for contracts, and you can't keep asking the administration to lower costs for education of the children when you are giving out or allowing money to flow out of the Interboro School District at the rate of $2,000 every single day since September the 1st of 2015. The total now exceeds more than $2 million, which I'm sure the Interboro School District children will abuse, as well as the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Goby. Appreciate your comments. Moving on, Mr. Evans, is there any other comment?
No, sir.
Moving on, I just wanted to announce we did have an executive session before this meeting for legal procedures with board vacancies moving forward. Okay, you were 5. Mr. Evans,
Motion that the following minutes of the special meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on February 5th, 2018 be approved.
Second.
motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 5.2 that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro School Board Board of School Directors held on January 17, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next, number 6, solicitor's report, Mr. Cookie.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, members of the Interboro School Board and public. Mrs. Gomes had a personal obligation, was not able to be here this evening, so it's my honor and privilege to be here in her stead. My office has, over the past month, been working on a series of contracts and some special education issues, as well as obviously some school security issues as they have come up. So that would be the only thing I would have to report. Just lastly, to add, you feel your age when you come in and see the young student representative, and you remember her grandmother coming into your office telling you the day she was born. So Ariana, it's great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cookie. Number 7, financial, Mr. Evans.
Motion 7.1 that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending January 31st, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 7.2 that fund disbursements in the amount of $5,366,491.24 be approved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 7.3 that the budget transfers for the 2017-2018 school year be approved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. And number 8, is there any correspondence, Mr. Evans?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on to number 9, committee reports. 9.1, the finance, Mr. Sharon.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. The Finance Committee met on Monday, February 5th, 2018. The first item discussed was the 2018-2019 preliminary budget. Mr. High School reviewed the preliminary budget and highlighted the differences compared to the preliminary budget from the January meeting. I'm going to highlight some of the information below, but for a more in-depth analysis, please come to the finance meetings held on the first Monday of every month, or they're available on the Interboro website. Overall, our budget saw an increase in its revenue by $666,000. The increase is mainly from state revenue through increases in PlanCon, retirement subsidies, and an increase to the Ready to Learn grant per initial PDE calculations. Although our overall revenue did increase, we did see some reductions to our federal revenue due to the possible elimination of Title II funding and a reduction in our local revenue because of reductions in the IU reconciliations or the DCIU calculations. Overall, we worked this month to reduce our expenditures by $471,356. Some of the changes in expenditures included reducing the DCIU line item by $242,270 because of reductions in special education services and the fair share costs, as well as a decrease in vocational services. We also reduced the pupil service line item by $172,573 because of a reduction in professional substitute services and a reduction in charter school tuition. And the custodial department line item decreased by $21,020 because of a decrease in cleaning and building supplies. Although our overall expenditures did decrease, we did see some increases to various departments. The curriculum department line item increased by $16,514 because of textbook and workbook costs, instructional software, and supplies that were previously paid out of the KTO grant. And the transportation department saw an increase of $105,000 because of increase in IU transportation and the increase in gas and diesel. Overall, we were able to cut the deficit in half from $2,153,000 to $1,069,703. Mr. High School, Mrs. Riley, and the board will continue to work this month to reduce the deficit as much as possible while maintaining the necessary supports for our students and staff. The second item was a DCIU update presented by our board representative, Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris provided the board with a document that highlights the supports the DCIU provides to the Interboro School District. Some of the supports include early childhood education, student services and special education, career and technical education, and curriculum instruction and professional learning. If you have any concerns, comments, or questions, please let Mr. Harris know and we will work to find a solution. Finally, the preliminary financial statements were discussed. All board members had the opportunity to read the monthly department spending, year-to-date revenues, and year-to-date expenditures and ask questions. The committee adjourned, and our next finance meeting will be held March 5th at 7 p.m. in the boardroom of the administration building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. 9.2, the GBO, Mr. Evans.
Yes, our meeting immediately followed the Finance Committee meeting. Our meeting opened at 7:55 p.m. on February 5th. This is the GBO Committee report. The meeting began with questions from the committee regarding follow-up information on the plan to begin utilizing a cloud fax program to allow electronic faxing of documents to various vendors. The question remains, can that particular task be handled through our current multifunction printers? As Mrs. Haggerty is not available to provide that follow-up, the topic was tabled until the next opportunity we have to discuss it with the Director of Technology. Director of Facilities, Mr. Galloway, was tasked with looking at the facility assessment that was conducted previously to determine project priority as well as affordability. The committee does not want to lose track of initiatives mentioned in the study, especially those dealing with life safety. Mr. Galloway said he would provide some recommendations for work session that can be further discussed at our next committee meetings. The administration committed to sending copies of that assessment to the newest board members. Mr. Galloway further provided information on the electric service out of the South Avenue Sports Complex. Apparently one phase of a three-phase service installed it underground. The fault has been located and we were waiting on a shutdown from PICO to commence that excavation. Once the shutdown is provided, repairs are expected to be completed inside of 2 weeks. Costs are expected to be less than $6,000. Mr. Galloway gave a brief report regarding the bathrooms that are backstage in the auditorium. Some of the repairs are being done as part of a senior project, and the remainder will be undertaken by in-house staff. The staff is also redoing the bathrooms adjacent to the Career Center. Superintendent Riley provided the preliminary 2018-19 school year calendar for our review. The meeting was adjourned at 8:17 p.m. Our next GBO committee meeting will be held March 5th, immediately following the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. 9.3, legislative update, Mr. McGarvey.
Yes, Mr. President. The legislative council met February 14th. Most of the discussion was around the budget. First is the state budget that's proposed by Governor Wolf. Basic education subsidy, $100 million increase, which is 1.76% of the budget. Special education, $20 million increase. Way to Learn block grant, no change in that budget, as well as the people transportation, no change in that as well. Early childhood education, $40 million increase. PSERS, an additional $263 million, which is 11.62% to cover the state's share of pension costs. PSBA estimates the share to be paid by school districts will increase again, $215 million. Teacher professional development, there was no change in that budget. The state assessment will change. The second piece is the Department of Education proposed budget for 2019. It's the President's proposed budget. $3.6 billion cut to education department, which is 5.3%. Eliminates Title II and Title IV and 21st century community learning centers. 39 discretionary programs will be cut. We're streamlining. $200 million for one STEM education. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McGarvey. Moving on to 9.4, DC, Delaware County Community College.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. There's no meeting held in February. The next scheduled meeting is held April 4th. However, discussion has been around the total sponsor appropriation for the Interboro School District for fiscal year 2018-2019, which is going to result in a 1.75% increase. That's what it's going to be.
Thank you again. Moving on to 9.5, Delaware County Meeting, Mr. Harris.
Save the best for last. This month's really long, so sit back, relax, this is going to take a while. The Delaware County Intermediate Board of Directors met on February 7, 2018. It was approved for mathematics, policy, research, and conduct, baby-face, child development studies for early Head Start classrooms and home-based families and staff for the spring of 2018 through the classroom observation and surveys. Approved the DCIU to renew a certification for 2 professional development staff members to provide mandated Act 126 child abuse reports to the districts through December 2019. Approved the DCIU contract with Delaware County government to provide broadband equipment maintenance services and network monitoring and maintenance. Approved to apply for administrator and an estimated $100,000 for PBE's competitive equipment grant. There's also one other thing, I'm going to have to check my phone because I'm going to mess this up. Something very exciting that we just found out that the Aston Technical School scored an 82% advanced placement on the NOC test and was recognized by Governor Wolf. For more information, for more news and happenings, go to dciu.org. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Our student representatives can be excused now. Number 10, personnel, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir. Motion that the following personnel actions be approved, starting with 10.1 on page 2 and ending with 10.10 on page 6.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, number 11, curriculum instruction.
Motion that the following items be approved, starting with 11.1 on page 7, on page 6, and going to 11.6 on page 7.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, Office of Special Education.
Motion that the following items be approved, starting with 12.1 on page 7 and going to 12.12 on page 8.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, Office of Technology.
Motion that the following items be approved. Motion 13.1, the Board of School Directors approve Diana Hilligas to attend the 2018 PDE Data Summit Conference Workshop at her GPA on March 26, 2018, at a cost not to exceed $260 paid from district funds.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, 14, Office of Finance.
Motion that the following items be approved, 14.1 on page 8 and 14.2 on page 9.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, 15.
And this is a roll call motion. Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the preliminary Interboro School District calendar for the 2018-2019 school year.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, Ms. Caldwell, could we have a roll call on this, please?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Verricchio? Yes. Ms. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Burnhammer? Yes. Mr. McGarvey?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Chacon?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans, 16.
This is also a roll call motion that the Board of School Directors approve the Interboro High School Program and Studies Book for the 2018-2019 school year.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Comment?
Yes, Mr. Chacon.
I just want to take a minute to just express my excitement for some of the new offerings happening at the high school with if this motion passes, especially the Music Theory 2 option, which we potentially could move to eventually having an AP music class, as well as the coding program, the video programming 2 class. I think it's a really neat opportunity for our students, and I'm excited for our students to be able to take these classes.
Thank you, Mr. Chacon. Any other comments? Hearing none, Ms. Caldwell, could we have a roll call on this, please?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Verricchio? Yes. Ms. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Burnhammer? Yes. Mr. McGarvey?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Chacon?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 17, that the Board of School Directors approve the request for services from the Chester County Intermediate Unit for Student and Family Truancy Support at an hourly rate of $87.90, not to exceed $5,000, and paid from district funds.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 18, that the Board of School Directors approve the first readings of the following policies in the categories of programs and community. 100 programs, 150 Title I comparability of services, and under 900 community, 918 Title I parent involvement.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Is there any old business in front of the board? Hearing none, any new business? We can move on to our comments with our superintendent, Ms. Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. Unfortunately, our country has experienced another school tragedy. Interboro offers its thoughts, prayers to the families, staff, and students of Parkland, Florida. I would like to take this opportunity to let our parents know that the safety of our students and staff is paramount. Please know that ensuring everyone's safety is an ongoing process. Interboro has open and regular communication with our police departments regarding school safety. Our buildings perform monthly safety drills and regularly review our safety procedures. Our central office administrative team is working collaboratively with our school board to ensure that we are maintaining facilities that are safe and secure. We recognize that these incidents are traumatic for our students, and it is important for parents to know that they can contact their child's school counselor for assistance. We have posted on our website resources from the National Association of School Psychologists and the Center for Disease Control. Please do not hesitate to contact my office, as I am always available to speak or meet with parents who may have questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. Are there any comments from the board?
I have a comment.
Mr. Harris.
I'd just like to take the time to thank Mr. O's third grade cutoff class over at Loyola for their recognition of the school board. It was a very exciting day, and I thank them very much. I also would like to welcome Ms. Verricchio. I'm going to tell her name, so just to the board. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Shabana?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Phelps. I just wanted to echo the comments earlier made about Ms. Gray. I know she was a valued member of Prospect Park community, and I just wanted, her family and friends are in my prayers. Also, Prospect Park's homeschool bingo is being held on March 3rd, so if you want to come out and support homeschool, the tables get sold pretty quickly. They have food and refreshments. It'll be a great time. There even is a surprise bingo call. I wonder who. And then finally, I also would like to welcome Ms. Verrocchio to the board, and I wish her the best in her service to the Interboro School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Shabana. Any other comments from the board?
Comment?
Mr. Brewer. I again would like to thank Mrs. Verrocchio for volunteering to be on the board. It's quite a bit of work, and I've worked with Mrs. Verrocchio in the past with the Planning Commission. And she's great, intuitive, and she'll do a great job, great asset to the Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. Mr. Evans?
Yeah, just real quickly, I'd like to point out that the music department had another successful coffee house 2 Fridays ago. It was held in the library here at the high school, as well attended. A lot of young talent coming up through the school system. A lot of great performers, and it's always a great sight to see. I also wanted to thank Mr. Dan Mills for inviting me to the Norwood School to visit Ashley Porter's first grade class. I was really, really inspired by all the work that she goes through to try and hold the attention of about 21st graders. And she did a really good job. She's a very animated teacher and used everything, I think, in her power to keep those kids engaged and to hold their attention. I was really impressed with what teachers do today. It was, back in the day, it was shut up and sit in your seat, you know, in my particular school. That's how I was handled. But she did a great job keeping those children engaged and interested for the entire time. I really owe her a thank you card and a message regarding that, and I appreciate the invite. I did witness the lockdown drill today. It was very well managed. They have a good, firm plan that they do exercise regularly. The local police department was involved, and the staff did a good job monitoring the exercise as well as back checking to make sure that everything was done properly. Doors were locked, windows were covered. Mr. Johnson and his staff hastily went through the building to make sure that the kids were silent, that nobody was breaking the protocols, and it was a good way to demonstrate that the children at least know how to react in the event of a lockdown situation, and that the staff was well organized and worked through a well thought out plan. They also had an after action review to discuss what deficiencies there were and what things could be tightened up. So I thank them for that. Thank you for letting me witness that as well. The marching band is returning from Florida. They had another successful trip to Florida. We wish them well and hope they all, I don't think they're back yet. They'll probably get back Sunday, right? So I hope they, have a safe trip back. They did visit a couple extra locations on the way down. So every trip there, they get a little more education on the country's history. And I also want to thank Mrs. Verrocchio for stepping up and becoming the newest member of the school board. It was not the spirit of the board to usurp the authority or representation from Glen Olden. We just were desperate to try and find somebody to step up. We were desperate to find a candidate who was going to come out and do the job. There are some former board members in here, and they know there's not a lot of people beating down the door to come here to do this work. So we really appreciate you coming out, and we appreciate the advice we had gotten from our solicitor. He's going to continue to look through that, but right now it's a moot point. We got the position filled, and hopefully we won't be in that spot anywhere in the near future. So thank you, everyone. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other board members? Hearing none, I would like to thank Mr. Evans for coming today and representing the board and the girls. We do appreciate that. congratulate Mr. Kelly and Mr. Wills for putting out award-winning students as well as the teachers of those schools for the spelling bee. Also, we had the kids at the school making things for us, and this was so cute. I had the show. It's a snow globe, and it says, if I lived in a snow globe, I would make a snowman with markers. And here's Mason. He's in an Eagles outfit. This was before the Super Bowl. So, and he presented it to myself and had it at the meeting. So I just wanted to show everybody this. It's so cute, I can't even tell you. Okay, there's no other comments. On Monday, March 5th, 2018, the Finance Committee meeting with the GBO meeting immediately following will be held at 7 p.m. in the boardroom of the administration building. The next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the administration building on Monday, March 19th, 2018 at 7 p.m. The next regularly monthly public meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the kindergarten multi-purpose room on Wednesday, March 21st, 2018 at 7 p.m. Hearing that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.